let's say that I have 4 or 5 bullish signals and I'm checking these off and it's giving me a good trade success. I have an invalidation of a big sell order block above. I've seen this thing just wipe out all the other signals. So in some ways, and more important is maybe not the right way to say it, but I think that's my invalidation. So often in my trades, I'll come in here and I'll say, okay, this is looking good. I'm bullish. I like this. Where did that thing go though? My trade success checklist, it disappeared. No, here it is. I'll open it up PDF. So here you can see these are checkable. So let's say I come in here, I'm like, all right, I've got an ERI, I've got a TSI, I've got a trade success score of 2. Generally, I like to see 3 or 4. So let's say we get a signal line green, and then now these 4 though, it's hard to say no to the 4 horsemen, as we call them. The ERI, the TSI, the signal line green, RSI Pro showing bullish divergence. Holy cow, that's a buy. But so you're weighing these together. It's like a scale. And for me, I'd say the order block detector is like a double weight, you know. And I think for me, it's an eject handle. It's a disqualifier. So even if all of those were green and we're in this sort of playing out right here, like we're starting to see that. So it's a good question, Tanya. Because normally we would say, oh, look at this. Well, we have an ERI, kind of have that there. Okay, and then we have a TSI, not quite above 20, but it's heading that way. And then the signal line going green, and then this going green. That's normally, and that's when we're getting in, no questions asked. Now, here's what I suspect will happen. You guys can call me out on this if I'm wrong. I think this will push up once we get the TSI above 20 and the signal goes green, and it'll take out this order block. But until then, I'm not touching it. And I think it's a useful skill to form a thesis on a coin. Okay, I'm bullish. This looks good. And then once you've made that decision, look for ways to invalidate it. Because usually there's 1 or 2 things. You know, the old saying, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you're looking for bullish signals, it's kind of easy to say, oh, that's bullish, and find things that'll support your confirmation bias. So it's useful to say, all right, I like this, I think I'll buy some, but let me take a second look for negatives. Because if you look for them, you'll see them, and then oftentimes I'll be like, oh, okay, but I didn't see that. And that's worth spending your time doing. Because our confirmation bias is alive and well. So anyway, but we have our alerts say, hey, but look, it's above 100K. It's also above the 21 and 50-day EMA. And at that point, we'll have broken this downtrending resistance. So right now, I think it's headed lower to the buy block. But if it breaks back above here and gets to 100K and closes, then new information equals new decision. But I hear you. It's not easy to navigate these things sometimes. And so Tanya's saying sell blocks more important. I wouldn't say more important. They're both important, but it's an invalidation for me. Okay. All right. David's saying, yeah, I've seen a sell block break, price drop back down almost immediately, and a new block come in. It's institutionally driven, so if the institutions want to hold price down, they will. Yeah, I mean, it's whether I do believe the ERI is kind of programmatic buying and selling. On these order block sells and buys, you know, these are, you know, not necessarily institutions. It's just that's a preponderance, a high concentration of orders on the order books. So if I were to pull up Coinbase Advanced, and you might have seen this in the time and sale, not the time and sales, but there's, you know, they have the red orders and the green orders. Sometimes it's skewed, whatever, but it's really hard to make any sense of that. And also looking at, you know, prices versus how much is on that price, the volume. So we've just visualized that. So whoever these people are, they could be whales, they could be the whales holding 1,000 plus Bitcoin. These are sell orders on the books. In contrast to whenever we see money flow blocks, those are actual big buyers coming in. These are typically, you know, bigger buyers, whales, institutions, ETFs. And so just so you guys hopefully understand the difference, these are actual buyers coming in, big buyer orders. These orders have closed And whereas these are orders that are set to buy at these levels, and ostensibly we saw a bunch of them taken, and maybe we could say we don't know for sure. Maybe these were more market orders, but whereas these are more limit orders. If you don't know the difference, go look that up online. But maker and taker, etc. Marketers, when you go, you just say, I'll buy at market, and then it'll take it from the people selling, the makers. You're the taker, they're the maker. And I think we're going down a rabbit hole here. They're both important. I think the ones that are more likely to hold are the money flow blocks here and here, but certainly with Bitcoin. So this is interesting. I'm glad we pulled it up. On the weekly time frame, we have 84K showing as a buy block zone, right? In this range, midpoint of a vector candle, okay? However, on the daily time frame, we've got strong money flow support that should hold. This is 72K, but right in here, well, no, that coincides. I'm sorry, I'm answering my own question. So this is why this 84K is of interest to me. We have buy blocks here, but these midpoint of the vector candle right about there, well, that's 84K, you guys. This big green candle is, this is the market maker repricing price into a new range. And typically the midpoint will be retested at some point and hold. And so I don't know. We'll see. All right, let me catch up on the questions. Let's see. I've seen cell block price drop back. You've got that. Cell block mitigation, range trading. Good, David. You can do mitigation and forming. Yeah, I just saw that. Just realizing that. So, I mean, I don't know if I need an alert to tell me that a new order block is formed on the downside for buying. Does that mean it hasn't hit there yet? Unless we get a big drop. But I think I can see if I'm expecting a big drop, I might set those for those mitigating or sorry, forming the order blocks. All right, guys. Deep breath. That was a lot. And so let's see, just kind of seeing who's here today. And okay, cool. Hey, Charles, good to have you here. And Rick, Tanya, just say hi to everybody. Todd, KS, David, Doug. Hey, Doug. I'm still going to give you a video on that thing, but I think we mostly answered it. And Ray, Scott, and Jim. Cool. Any questions, guys, on the chart? Let's get into some where we're an hour in. I want to keep these short enough, but I think these are important topics. And there was something I wanted to cover on the overall fear and greed. Let me jump over to that because I was playing around with some new resources there yesterday. And let's see down here. And what we want to look at, this is the total market cap of the total of all of the coins. So on the fear and greed index, so we're down to the 35 range, and I was watching a video today that pointed this out, which was worth noting. And the last kind of time we saw this, we saw three sort of dumps on this. We were right around this kind of 38 range, pushed higher, and then we dumped lower to 40. Let's see, down here looks like, doesn't make sense, 38, 44. How does this 30, anyway, visually, just follow me here. So then a final capitulation down in this range. So question is, do we bounce and drop again? My overall theme here is it's impossible for me to tell what's going on with this right now. We have to kind of wait for this to play out. And more than likely, we do see another flush and then before going higher. But we have to be open to all outcomes. And in terms of fear and greed on the just the Bitcoin, though, it hasn't really dropped as much as we'd want to see it yet. I don't usually spend a lot of time on the fear and greed, and now I've got to dig around for the other one. Dex Bello or as a blockchain center has one. Altcoin season, it's not. Look into Bitcoin. This one, look into Bitcoin there. Yeah. So this will be the Bitcoin fear and greed index, which hasn't. So the point is, there's more fear in altcoins. Give this a minute to load than there are on the Bitcoin. So I don't know, you guys. With that, again, the buyers are scared and the sellers got flushed out. So what is this? Yeah. Why is it showing 5046 on this? Price color coded. Point of this, don't look at the chart because it seems to be off. At 46 out of 100, Bitcoin hasn't hit max fear yet. And typically that's what we see before we bounce. All right, just forming a thesis here, not to scare anyone. I mean, if you're in Bitcoin right now, look, maybe take some off the table, put your buy limit orders in here at 91K, and also 91K to 93K. Specifically, how do you play this scenario based on what I've, if you're asking that, where's the ideal buy zone here? And if it gets down below 94K, this is the sweet spot. The midpoint of our buy blocks is at 91K. You can see I have an alert. So if you have some powder dry, maybe put some buy limit orders at 91K, and you could even put some at 84K, 86K in this range. I don't think we'll see a big capitulation wipeout like that because the leverage got wiped out already. If we do head down, probably in this range, it's going to drift down slowly, and then the sellers are exhausted and we go higher. And then we just need to see these breakpoints. Okay, so I'm guessing what you want to hear, you guys. So if you have any specific questions, let me know. But moving on from Bitcoin, let's take a look. Solana losing some strength here against ETH and Bitcoin. That's interesting. And then we had Litecoin kind of trying to push up, but just kind of slowly. Not much to see there with Litecoin. Although here's why it pushed higher, you guys. And one of you asked last week, and I was like, I don't really like the chart. Litecoin's kind of boring and maybe dead, but they are likely to get an ETF. On the other hand, might not be that successful. So there's that. So I keep an eye on Litecoin for that reason only, and because it is a branch off of Bitcoin, therefore a proof of work, therefore a commodity, therefore not likely to be considered a security, and therefore likely to get approved for an ETF by the SEC, but also likely nobody will buy it, or it won't be like hugely successful. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. This is one of those. All right, look. Hey, look. If it breaks above the sell block at 153, 155, then maybe I'll be interested. But then you're kind of like, well, but it's already kind of made its move there. That's the problem. I'd much rather buy at the downside of these in these buy blocks, and that's a perfect segue into Phantom Coin. We'll come back into, has had a nice little run, but Solana, where we started, we are in a buy zone, and we have a buy zone below that. I do like this chart on Solana. I'm moving some more money in the IRA to buy some more Solana because this is one I just want to own. You got multiple, so prior resistance points here. Let's just dissect this chart a little bit, you guys. You can draw these lines not only horizontally, but resistance, and look at our ERI doing such a great job on Solana here and here. Once you start to see these, you can't unsee them. But then bullish ERIs here and here. This is where I was buying these ERIs. And Tanya, specifically, if you get an ERI and our indicators align with the buy blocks, that's where you really want to be paying attention. I doubled my Solana mostly by doing that, buying these buy block ERIs. Maybe we've coined a new term, buy block ERIs. In the buy blocks, ERI, good. Especially with TSI confirming, and not to get too into the weeds there, but all through here, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So we're seeing that play out again in these buy blocks with an ERI. I think this Solana, look, I like it here. And then this downward trending resistance trend line, resistance, flipped as support. Look for those. Now we're putting in higher lows. There's lots of little clues here. Solana looking to push up higher, but again, I will be selling at least half, if not more, in this 276 range until it sort of holds there, and but keeping some for pushing up higher to these ranges and moon bags long term. On my IRA, I'm just not touching it. Hey, this is Brett from Moonstream. If you'd like to learn more about our pro trading signals or our live classes every Wednesday or our Retire Rich program, go over to moonstream.io/start.